Hi there, I'm Sam from Nace Knits and this is podcast number 3. Yeah, so things are a little bit different from when I last filmed this podcast. Yeah, so I kind of filmed podcast number 1 and podcast number 2 quite close together, purely because I didn't want to lose my nerve, because, you know, if nobody really saw podcast number 1, then podcast number 2 was already done and I didn't need to think about it too much and I wouldn't lose confidence. But something happened with the YouTube algorithm and they kind of helped me out a little bit. Yeah, so I was a bit shocked. Podcast number 1, as of this morning, I woke up and it's been live for about a week. Podcast number 2 is about to go live in a minute, and yeah, I had over 1,000 views this morning and lots of lovely new subscribers, so I was a bit shocked and very grateful. Yeah, so I hope that you've returned and you liked what you saw, and if not, this is a disabled, inclusive, beginner friendly podcast. I'm trying to keep it, I'm an advanced beginner knitter and I want to make knitting as accessible as possible. I love watching podcasts. I watch podcasts most of the time now, and yeah, I find that most podcasters are very experienced knitters, which is amazing. I'm learning so much, but I think there's a little gap there for people who are new to knitting or coming back to knitting and want to learn more on the way. So as I learn techniques, I'll share them with you. Basically, sharing is caring. And yeah, when I learn about new yarns and new techniques, I'll share. And yeah, ditto, if you find something that you love and that you're using, or you've found a technique that's made something that was difficult for you to do before due to mobility, and now it's made it a lot easier, let me know. And yeah, I'm happy to share. So today I'm going to talk about a few whips. I'm also going to talk about Advent, yarn Advent. Everyone's Advent calendars seem to be coming out first week of April, so I want to talk a little bit about that, and what it is and why you should maybe look at it. I want to talk about summer patterns as well, and yeah, just inclusivity in general. Yeah, so just as a little disclaimer, I'm hoping not, but there may be a little bit of gap between episode 3 and episode 4. Tomorrow I'm going in for an operation, nothing humongous, luckily, hence why I'm doing the podcast today, because I'm a little bit, I need something to occupy my mind, as you can imagine, and by the time you see this, it'll have been done and I'll be in recovery, hopefully, and everything should have gone tip-top. So yeah, that's just a little disclaimer there. Okay, so let's talk about knitting. Gosh, it's all go today. Let's talk about knitting. Right, so last week I talked about the Cardi V jumper and how I just cast it on. It's a lovely pattern and everything, but I wasn't happy about the inclusivity on size. Now, thinking about it a little bit more and knitting it a little bit more, I just found that I lost the love for it, just because it isn't as inclusive as I'd like it to be, and I found that I wasn't picking it up as much as I would normally. Dropped it. Here it is here. I'm knitting it in Woolly Knit Plata Merino, big cone, held double, and I've got another skein of Cheshire Yarns New Day Mohair, and this is one I haven't wound up yet, so you can actually see it in its full skein beauty. It's just, oh, this one's got so much green in it, it's just absolute dream. Hello Cheshire Yarns. Yeah, check them out on Etsy. Lovely yarn. So I want to do this yarn justice, and I want to celebrate what I'm knitting, and I don't feel like I can celebrate this pattern as it's not as inclusive as I would like it to be. I carried on knitting, but you'll probably notice a glaring, I don't know if it's glaringly obvious, but I mucked up the cabling because I think I just lost concentration with it, and well, I haven't had a great health week and I'm just not loving it. So you can probably see here I mucked up the cable, so it's not quite matching up. And I could frog it, I could rip back. I think I'm going to frog it. I've found another pattern which I think will make the mohair sing. What was it called? Did I write it down? Did I write it down? I didn't write it down. Banana. I'll put it here. So it's held double in the main, and then the sleeves is just mohair, and I think it will just highlight the wall a lot better, and it's quite fancy looking as well, but it can be worn casual. So yeah, this is a beautiful pattern, but it's not sitting comfortably with me, and I want to be proud of it. And if I'm showing you patterns, I want them to be inclusive, and I want you to feel, I don't want anyone to go, oh yeah, I really like that, and then go to the pattern and go, oh no, I can't knit it. That's not cool. I don't want anyone feeling like that. So yeah, so I'm probably going to frog this, which this is a good week's work at least. But you know what? If it doesn't make you feel good, get rid. So that's what's going to happen. So yeah, I'm going to do the pattern that I've forgotten the name of, which I've inserted for you, in the Plata again, because this is stunning yarn also, and held double with the New Day Cheshire Yarn mohair. So that's what I'm going to do with that. Let me know your thoughts on patterns and inclusivity, and if you know of any designers that are really good. I've seen a couple on Ravelry, and I will start highlighting them. Podcasts. There's a few that I've liked the look of. Hang on. So what have I written on my, I've got like a little list of things that I'd like to knit. Yeah, so there's wool and pine, I'd like the sea glass tea, and also there's summer sorrel, which I'll be talking a little bit more about later, and also Jacqueline Sizak. I really like her strata top, chore vest, and her and there's quite a few other ones as well that I like the look of. So I'll definitely be highlighting some of her patterns in the next couple of weeks. Just for summer knits, I'm focusing more on summer knits now. So summer knits are things that you can wear and knit in the summer without sweating your lady pieces off. So summer yarn tends to be made out of cotton or linen or a mix, a little bit of viscose sometimes. They're just really nice and lightweight and breathable and absorbent if they're sweaty, and if they're linen, they're not antiseptic, but they don't breed bacteria. So if you have quite a good linen content, that's great if you sweat a lot and you don't want to be smelly. Have something with a linen content that will really help. Yeah, so I'm going to be focusing mainly on summer knits now. Let me know if you know any good summer knits that are very inclusive in size. Yeah, so that's where I'm heading with these podcasts at the moment. Okay, sorry about that. I had to pause for a moment there, take a phone call. Right, okay, so I was talking about size inclusivity, and this week I brought a book. I was really excited about this book. Sorry, I didn't mean to clap there. Yes, so I was really excited about this book. It looked like a good, basic, classic, just everyday wear, really simple but beautiful patterns. I was really looking forward to it, and I've had it on pre-order for a long time, and it arrived. I cast on, didn't even think about it. I was just like, oh, I need to knit this. I wanted a summer tee, found the perfect summer tee, cast it on, knit most of the way, and I was getting ready to tell you about this book, and I looked at the size inclusivity, and it's not great. Not great. So I'm really peed off about it. So I was going to tell you all about this book and how great it was and how impressed I was and how it was great for advanced beginners and all that. Yeah, not great. It's just a shame. Like, just take that extra couple of days to just make the patterns more accessible, you know? Is it that, or are you just being lazy? I hope it's that you're just being lazy and you're not just being a dick, you know? Everyone's entitled to wear what they want to wear and make what they want to wear, you know? I just want to just say, oh, this pattern's amazing, this book's amazing, and they can knit anything out of it and not have to worry and just not have to have that thought in their head, you know? It's just shitty. So anyway, the book is A Knitter's Year. I don't really want to talk about it, but I've cast something on, I've nearly finished it, so I'll show you the finished item. I haven't completely fully thingied the pattern, and then but there's probably people out there that enjoy this person's patterns and been excited for this book also. Sorry, tea break. He's a puppet. Hello, Mr. Pop-Up. You can't see you. You gonna come over here? Cat. What are you doing? You want to be YouTube famous? Are you your sister? They can't see your head. You're not in shot. There you go, you're in shot. Hello. You're so angry. Why are you angry? He's just going to sit there now. Oh, we've got both. We've got both. Hello. No one's so as famous as you. You've got a kitty in? You've got a kitty OnlyFans, haven't you? Hmm? Yeah. You're a good boy. You're a good girl. Yeah. Let's not fight though. And he's off. That's why you don't see much of him in my videos. Whereas this one is well behaved. Even though she starts the fights. Okay, so as I was saying. Yeah, so most of these patterns, this is the Knitter's Year. As you can see, simple, classic, oh I didn't mean to touch a boob. Simple, classic book. It has patterns throughout the year, so it's got your summer knits as well as your winter knits, which is brilliant because most books just focus on winter knits. But yeah, most of the patterns come in extra small, small, medium, large, extra large. And depending on the pattern, depends on what the extra large size is. So for instance, this jumper here, the extra large size goes up to 54¼ inches in chest. Doesn't have it, oh yeah, 138 in centimeters, which is a bit, another one, brioche sweater, again, beautiful, beautiful knit, quite easily be extended, but this one goes up to 146 centimeters. Well, don't want to show you the pattern, but this one goes up to 146 centimeters or 57½ inches. That's a little bit better, but you know, it could be much better. You know, these aren't complicated patterns. You just need a little bit of adding on. But let me know what you think in the comments. But it's just a shame. This is a brand new released book. There's not much foresight and everything. The summer knits are really nice. It's just this dress. Freaking disappointing. Said freaking. See, this one only goes up to 122 centimeters, and it's not even in an extra large. So it's... fuck's sake. People, seriously. It doesn't take much to be nice. It doesn't take much to be inclusive. You know? Nobody wants fuss. I said that last time. Nobody wants fuss. They just want to be able to access things. Just want to get on with it, not have to think about it. And I know I'm not in that category, but you know, I'm guessing that's how it is. You just don't want the fuss. You just want to knit things without thinking. And I feel that way about getting into shops. So, you know, I don't get it because I'm not you and I'm not in your situation, but I can sympathise. So I will try much, much, much harder, and I'm not going to buy books on pre-order anymore because I want to see that they are actually inclusive before I give them my money. So I'll probably knit things for myself out of it for personal use, but I'm not going to show it. She says that, picking up her knit, but I'm saying I'm going to knit something from this book because I am literally, I've done the sleeves. All I've got to do is the raglan increases. Really weird way of knitting again. Why can't it just be top down? I don't get it. It's bottom up, knit the sleeves separately, then join them. It's a lot of faff. People, just do top down. It's so much freaking easier. Sorry, message. I'll get back. Sorry, I just got a message that's a bit upsetting, so I needed a little moment. I'm going to try and keep going. It's probably going to be a short, weird podcast, just with everything that's going on, but doesn't look like I'm the only person going into hospital this week. Anywho. Yeah, so like I said, I will be knitting from the book, but I won't be advertising it anymore. But I thought everyone deserved a heads up. You know, it's up to you if you want to buy it or not. Next, let's try and whew. Okay, so next I've got a frog. I will complete a piece of knitwear. I'll complete the tea, but that I can show you, I promise. So the lightweight pullover by Pearl Soho I was making with the Pigment and Ply, Hylas and the Nymphs. And I was saying how much I loved Magic Loop and why I wished that I'd used it before. Turns out it is actually quite hard to do with mobility issues in your hands. I'm getting that ladder effect so this ladder effect happens with Magic Knit if you don't have it tight enough. And believe me, I've looked at the hacks to make sure that you don't get the ladder effect, and I've tried them. I can't pull that yarn tight enough to stop a ladder effect. So what happens is you knit in the round for your Magic Loop. I would show you what I've done, but I frogged it because I got peed off with it yesterday and just decided to start a different pattern. Yeah, so when you knit in the round for your well, it's not quite in the round, for the magic loop. Both sides of the loop, so you have your fabric and then you've got where you turn. Both sides of those turns, you get ladders. I could carry on and try stitching it afterwards, but I wouldn't feel happy with that. So what I've done, because this one here was also a similar construction where it would be magic loop, all I did was knit the sleeve flat and then I just stitched it afterwards. So I just did like a running stitch, made sure that I did it a few times so it was quite secure, and it looks pretty good. So I'm not going to be upset with myself that I can't do magic loop. I'm just going to do that. Probably going to try getting some circular needles that are small, like chow goose or something like that, and try that way as well. But again, it's quite a small area for knitting, so it might be quite tricky with my hands. So what are you doing, kitty puss? Cats. Whoop, careful. She nearly nutted the bedside table. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm gonna try the small circular needles. Yeah, that's the thing, you can't get interchangeable needle cables that are smaller, well, they might be able to, but I haven't found them yet, than a 20cm cable, and you can't get needles that are interchangeable any less than a 3mm. So I'm going to get some circular ones that are like 2.75 and go from there, and see if I can do a sleeve with those. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I quite like doing them flat, to be honest. I found it really easy, and I'm quite familiar with how a sleeve would be put together if it was flat, because I've done a lot of sewing with sewing machines. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. You know, that's the old school way of doing it, just doing everything flat. So I can't see why that would be a problem. Obviously I haven't attached them yet, so it could be interesting, but this one's pretty easy. It's just completely, it's just 8cm stockinette, no increases, no decreases. So we'll see. So, oh, that's the last time you'll see that jumper, but I needed to show you the sleeve. Yeah, so the Pigment and Ply Hylas, I had a change of heart. I've decided not to do the lightweight pullover just because I want to make something special. The lightweight pullover is special, but it's quite plain, and I just wanted to make something a little bit more, I can wear a bit more seasonal and has like a layer and things like that. So I'm thinking of going for the summer sorrel. I have made gauge. I did that last night, I forgot about that. So I did a swatch and I did make gauge. So I'm going to try and attempt the summer sorrel. I'll insert a picture here. Yeah, and again, just in case you haven't seen my other podcasts, it's so pretty. Yeah, so Pigment and Ply. Ooh, can you see it? And it is Hylas and the Nymphs. So this is 56% extra fine superwash merino, 44% merino, mohair, sorry, cat distraction. You're not distracting, are you? You're a good girl. You're Nikki. She hasn't got a collar on, because I was always worried she's going to flash my dress, so I took the collar off. Yeah, and you get 360 meters per 100 grams. So I'm also quite excited because I did the yarn club, Pigment Ply's yarn club this week. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I get the next 3 months. I just ordered the mini skeins. Yeah, so if you have any ideas for mini skein patterns, let me know. I'm quite interested in Cafe Facet. I've got one of his retro books from the 90s, so I might make something with that. I'm going to develop a little collection of mini skeins and see what I can make from Cafe Facet. I will get the book to show you because it's awesome. So I've just signed up for the yarn club, Pigment and Ply's yarn club, and I'm really excited to see what I get in my first delivery. I've just done the mini skeins because I'm really interested on stitch busting and how we can use mini skeins to make all kinds of interesting things. I'm a keen follower of Cafe Facets patterns. They are a designer that's been around since the 80s. I have one of their classic books. It's a one size fits all. It's called Glorious Knits, but it's just one that I've picked up on eBay. But they make regular patterns for Rowan now, so you can find much more inclusive patterns on with Rowan's websites, I'm sure, and their magazine publications. So I'm interested in the way they use yarn as painting. So you don't use all the same yarn. It's very much marling and marbling the walls together. So I'm quite interested in using mini skeins in that fashion. So I'm going to have a look at some of some of their more current designs, and I will show you how to use those hopefully in the future. So I'm really excited in a way I can use the yarn club, and I'm also looking at advents, which is a nice segue because I want to talk about advents. If you're new to the knitting world, oh, so just a little bit, and I need a cup of tea because I had a bit of a shock. I need it now. Oh. I do have other mugs. It's just this one is the one that appears every time. Here's to the sis if she's watching. Yeah, so advents, yarn advents. Now when I first thought about this, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'd rather have chocolate, but you know, now I'd rather have yarn. Yarn and chocolate. We need to do a yarn and chocolate advent. Can someone work on that for me? Yeah, so yarn advents are basically the same kind of thing as a chocolate advent or a beauty advent, if you like that kind of thing, where you get a mini skein every day of advent, and maybe a special skein on Christmas Day, and there's other things as well that you could get. So it's quite nice. You could get like little project bags or little what they're called, stitch markers and things like that. So there's been quite a lot of talk about that recently on Instagram, and I just wanted to go through a few that I quite like the look of, and if money was no object, I would be purchasing. I'll probably invest in 2 just so I can show you what to do with advent calendars, and yeah, also it can be used for any kind of mini skein, so in the future. So some of the ones that I'm looking at and very interested in, we've got Adventures in Yarncraft. I've actually ordered this one. I ordered it last night. I am very, very excited. It's Jane Eyre based, which I really like the idea of. And I think there's going to be like a little book club kind of vibe as well. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So I'm going to dig out my old copy of Jane Eyre and start reading that. Gonna need some reading material in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. It looks beautiful. You can get it in DK weight or you can get it in sock weight. It seems to be heavy on the purples, greys, greens, very much the mauves, that whole moody Jane Eyre vibe. Yeah, so hopefully that's gonna be cracking. You know it's gonna be cracking. I've got some undyed yarn of Adventures in Yarncraft, which I purchased at the East Anglian Yarn Festival, and like I said before, if I'd seen her yarn before I'd seen, you know, it's cracking. You know, I really want a jumper's weight of her other yarn as well. So I'm really looking forward to making something out of the mini skeins. I'm thinking possibly a cardigan. I really fancy like a Cafe Facet style cardigan. I think that would look beautiful with the Adventures in Yarncraft. Yeah, so I'll insert some pictures so you can see, and hopefully there will still be some available if you're interested. yeah, next one, Pigment and Ply. I'm probably going to purchase this one as well, just because I'm already a huge fan. Yeah, that's all based on the Pre-Raphaelite. I really like Pre-Raphaelite paintings, and yeah, it's going to be a cracker. I'm not quite sure the full details yet. Oh, I forgot to say, in Adventures in Yarncraft, it is in a payment plan as well. A lot of these advent calendars are in a payment plan. So yeah, I missed a big chunk out there, didn't I? A lot of information I missed out. So you get approximately about 480 grams or more if you get the Christmas skein of wool per advent calendar. So you can make quite a bit of that from that. You could make one big project, or you can make lots of little projects. You could have many, many socks if you wish, you know, you could go crazy. But because it is quite a bit of yarn, it can be quite expensive. So payment plan's really good. So like with a payment plan, it could be £20 a month instead of the full thing. So it's quite nice that they released them so early. Like, no one wants to think about Christmas yet, but it's quite nice because you have a nice treat at Christmas where you're normally doing everybody's little gifts and knitting for everyone else. It would be nice to open up something that's for you, you know. Gift knits can be a joy to make and to give, but can be a little bit of a time chunk. So yeah, can be a little bit of a time drain, you know. So yeah, 480 grams, you can get really nice something out of that, or many nice somethings. So yeah, sorry, Pigment and Ply. They've gone Pre-Raphaelite, which, if you don't know, this one's based on a Pre-Raphaelite painting also. So you've got the moodiness, you've got all the different colours, and yeah, so I'm really excited to see what she does with her, sorry, assuming gender again. Really excited to see what they do with their advent calendar. I haven't had many details yet, but what's current on the photos that she released on Instagram, I'll insert. One. I've only seen one more mood board yet, and it's already looking cracking. So yeah, next one, another brand that I saw at another hand-dyed yarn dyer company thing. Don't quite know how to word it because it's a lot of words, need an abbreviation. It's a Camels yarn. I'm really interested in this company. They're a British company. They based in Cornwall, I believe, down south. And sorry, my cat's doing weird things again. What are you doing? Climbing. What are you trying to do? You trying to catch the birdies? You okay? You good girl. Yeah. Yes, so Camels yarn, very nature based. Moors, greens, you know, beautiful soft colours. I haven't got anything to show you, but I could insert a little clip from the stand to give you an idea. I'll ignore that. Yeah, so very soft colours, moody, beautiful, delicate. Yeah, really natural looking yarn. I really like where they're going with their yarn dyeing. So completely different to, it's just like a real soft touch to it, but in a good way. Still got the colour, but just like it's like a watercolour. if you can imagine. I think they paint. I think they do paintings and then take colours from their paintings, I believe. And yeah, you can really see that in their yarn dyeing. I really like in this art aspect to yarn dyeing. Yeah, so I really like the look of their yarn advent. It's based on 4 mood boards. We've got Moorland, which would be all the purples of the heathers, and very much like the Jane Eyre one, very mood, that kind of vibe. And then you've got Woodland, Coastal and Marine. So yeah, it'd be really interesting to see where she goes, where they go with that. And yeah, that's one I'm also very interested in. Now I'm going to show my geeky side. I'm very much like my sci-fi. So a lonely knitter, who is the director of the East Anglian Yarn Festival, they're going for a journey to the dark side. Yes, yes, Star Wars, yes. Yeah, so I'm loving Mandalorian at the moment. I'm loving it so much, so much. Oh gosh, I wish I could just take the last trilogy, or the last 2 trilogies, just go. And yeah. So Journey to the Dark Side. I love the vibe of this one. I love the vibe. You gotta get your Darth Vader on, you know. Yes. 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 I will insert the mood board. So if you love your Star Wars as much as I love my Star Wars, you can get your Star Wars on. I wish I could buy them all. I really wish I could. I so wish I could. But then I would have yarn coming out of my ears, and that would be really selfish and spoiled. And I don't need that much yarn. But yeah, a lonely knitter. That nice. And last but not least, the Crafty Bird. Another one that suits my sci-fi fantasy vibe. Like if you saw the series on TV, you're gonna want this as well. I cried like a baby. I cried like a baby at the finale of this. But it's based on His Dark Materials, which is a Philip Pullman book, series of books I should say, based in Oxford and other worlds. Yeah, the mood boards. The first mood board, like I want to talk about, is Dust. Oh, so pretty, so pretty, so pretty. I wish I could buy them all. And then they've also got Animals and Daemons. If you don't know, daemons are quite a pivotal part of the book, where each person has their own daemon. So like I have my cat always here, they would have an animal that follows them around, and it's the part of their personality, and it's kind of their consciousness, so you can see how they're feeling through their animal and all that kind of thing. It's really interesting. You really should see the program, read the books. It's incredible. My husband is a huge fan. Another one, also the other mood boards are cities, so all the different worlds and the different layers, cities and people. So yeah, so have a think about if you do an advent. Obviously you don't have to do it. It is quite an outlay. You could ask it for Christmas. It might be a nice Christmas present. Might have to ask a few people because it's quite spendy. But like I said, you could do it payment plan, £20 a month. It's quite good. If you buy wool regularly, that's what you'd normally buy, and you're just saving it up for Christmas, you know. But definitely worth having a look at. Yeah, so I'm really interested to see what happens in November when they drop on my doorstep, and I will share along the way. I will make sure that there's spoilers, so if people are saving them to open all on Christmas or they're delayed, they can fast forward and you won't get spoiled. But yeah, so I'll open it along the way, and then afterwards I think I'll have a little group of videos where I show you what I've made with them and maybe do like a knit along. So I'm very tempted to do, instead of doing a cowl, doing a knit along where I show you a pattern and hopefully work alongside someone who's a pattern designer. So this is pretty much a shout out for pattern designers who are beginning to do patterns or are established, who want to work alongside me, where I choose a pattern, and also the same with yarn suppliers if they want to do the same. Choose a pattern that I will knit in real time and show you how to knit, and you can just knit along with me and we can have a chat and things like that. Maybe do some lives as well. And therefore when we come a cropper on something tricky, we do it together and we troubleshoot together, and if that something doesn't work then we can try something else, that kind of thing. So I'm really hoping to develop that as a series. I'm probably going to start on a summer knit. So if you're a pattern designer and you have a summer knit that's inclusive and is beginner or advanced beginner friendly, or it's beginner and it has some, you know, advanced beginner is like beginner but it has some things that we can learn and it's interesting. So like your increases, decreases, different kinds of stitches, that kind of thing. Nothing massively technical, but it's well written that a beginner could do if they've got YouTube to help them do it, you know, or a good book. So yeah, so I'm looking for a summer pattern, like a little summer raglan tee or a little vest top. I'm not saying little. A summer raglan tee or a vest top. Again, inclusive, please. As inclusive as you can be. If you send them to my email, send me a little email and we can talk about it, and yeah, hopefully we can get a little knit along. Therefore, you know, obviously I don't want you to give your pattern away free, but I would like it to be monetarily accessible for people who would like to join in. But, you know, we want to make it as accessible as possible for people. But I don't want you to work for free. Okay. Yes, so I'm really excited to do that. Hopefully I'll do that in the next month or so when I'm starting to feel a little, my recovery's a little bit better. What else did I want to talk about? Yeah, so do you like that idea? Do you like the idea of a knit along? I quite like the idea of that, because when I knit, I always have a podcast. So it'd be nice, I think, to have the person who you're watching knit doing the podcast knitting the same thing as you at the same time. So we could have it in levels where we get to a certain point and then I'll stop and then you can go to the certain point that you're at, kind of thing. Do you think that's a good idea? And then we could have a live. I quite like the idea of doing lives as well. So pretty much like this, but I'm knitting at the same time, you're knitting at the same time, and it could be a little bit like a stitch and bitch. If you're not sure what a stitch and bitch is it's like a club, but it'd be an accessible club because you can do it from home. So the disabled community can join in even if they're not feeling great. They don't have to leave the house. So I want to have an accessible, inclusive knitting club where everyone can just join in the live, chat away in the comments, kind of thing. You can ask me questions, we can talk about anything. It doesn't have to be just knitting, and it can just be a social event. So I'm thinking of doing those kind of things as well. So let me know if you'd be interested in that. Obviously I haven't got a huge amount of subscribers at the moment, and you know, I haven't got that many viewers, but it'd be nice to develop a community where we can all just be inclusive and everyone can access everything. That would be great, as accessible and as inclusive as possible. That's where I want to get to. I'm also thinking long run, doing like, I'm not quite sure how to do this. I'm thinking maybe YouTube memberships or Patreon, where we have a space that won't cost you very much at all. I want to put that out there, or there'll be different labels depending on what you want to access, where it's actually a community that's troll free, or as troll free as I possibly can get. Obviously the trolls can join if they want to, but I can kick them off, you know, that kind of thing. But I just wanted to make a safe space, so I'm going to look into how I can make a safe space but have it as accessible as possible. So if you have any ideas of that, how I can do that, I quite like the idea of doing it on a YouTube or a Patreon, just because it's already set up and it's a lot less work for me. if you didn't know, I have an energy limiting condition, so I would like something that would sort it all out for me, and then I can just go on to the platform and do my thing. So I would like to do that, but again, as accessible and as inclusive as possible. So there'll be different tiers, and you won't be shut out of anything like social or anything like that if you're on the bottom tier. It would just be if you want to access, say, classes or patterns or things like that, that's when you'd start paying a little bit more. But I think I'd keep the bottom tier as the social, inclusive thing. So let me know what you think. I haven't done this thing before, so I don't know how trolly it will get just being purely open on YouTube. So let me know in the comments what you think. Obviously, I'm not big enough yet to have this issue, so I'm just foreseeing it and having a plan in my head what I would do if this happens, because I don't want anyone bullied. I don't want anyone feeling shit, and I don't want to feel shit. And I want to protect everyone's mental health as best I can. So if I did lives, I'd make sure that there is someone there keeping an eye on the comments. And also, yeah, let me know what you think about the whole having a separate area where it's a little bit more niche and protected as much as possible. Obviously, people are gonna, if they want to troll, they're gonna troll, but we can make it a little bit harder for them, you know. Let's see what we can do as possible. And I know I can't include everybody, but I want you to know that I'm trying. You know, I don't want to be one of these old millennial type people that, you know, aren't listening. There's so much not nice things going on in the world at the moment, and I don't want this corner of the internet to be one of them. And I'm going to be vigilant on that. Yeah, so what else? I don't want to stop chatting, but I haven't got anything more nitty to say, I don't think. Oh, I brought a weird rulery thing, and I haven't quite figured it out yet. It looked really clever on Amazon, but there isn't a huge amount of instructions, and I'm too beginnery to know what the blooming hell it is. But it's a square that you measure your stitches. So it does a 10 centimetre by 10 centimetre square. But then if you wanted to change gauge, I think this is what this is. So you can figure out if you've got how many stitches, and so I think it's really good for pattern designing and things like that. So I'll probably start using it better in the future, but at the moment I'm just using this little tiny bit. You also got a needle, so you can measure your needles. So if you've scrubbed off all your measurements on your needles, you can measure them, that kind of thing. It looks pretty cool. I got it on Amazon. It's by Prim. They're pretty good. Knitting calculator and counting frame. And then it has like an example. So you have 24 stitches at 10 centimetres, point of 24, number of stitches at 55 centimetres. It gives you all that gumph. So yeah, so I bought that. So it'd probably be very useful in the future, but at the moment, yeah, when I buy accessories, I tend to buy one that's got lots of things on instead of something simple, and then I get confused. It's great. Yeah, so yeah, it's nice to be talking about summer knits. It means the sun's shiny today. Makes a change. It's been raining for ages. Yeah, so tomorrow's the big day, and I'll see you on the other side of that. That'll be fun. Needs to be done. Needs to be done. So yeah, I'm going in for gallbladder surgery. Yeah. So I'll put a little disclaimer, but medical gaslighting is real, as a lot of people in the disabled community know, and also ladies. Ladies, look after yourself. If you have people in your family that have had their gallbladder problems, you need to have a look and see what gallbladder problems are. I wasn't aware. Nobody mentioned that people had gallbladders out in my family. And if I had, I would have changed my diet. Unfortunately, it's a diet thing. So what happens with the gallbladder is, if you're genetically this way, if you eat saturated fat or dairy and things like that, it becomes like a stone in your gallbladder, and then your gallbladder starts getting irritated, and like it can't digest things the way it did. So I've probably had this for about 10 years. I like my chocolate, okay, I like my chocolate. And I wasn't aware of this was a thing. Were you aware of this thing? I didn't know this was a thing. Nobody talks about it. Apparently it's one of the most common operations in the world, but nobody talks about it. Like, why not? You know, you'd be aware of it. So I've been fobbed off for years with, oh, you've got ulcers, you know, you've got dairy allergies. No, I haven't. I've got gallstone. That's what it was. So 10 years of medical gaslighting for that. No tests given, no shits given. Just, oh yeah, it's an ulcer, have this. Wasn't at all. Gallbladder stone. So yeah, I'm having my op tomorrow. Long time coming. I've had last year and a half, I think all I've eaten is chicken, rice, no chocolate. Really glad this is happening around Easter, so when I've recovered I can eat as much chocolate as my heart can take. So happy about that. Yeah, so yeah, worth checking out medical history of your family. And then yeah, and if you're having tummy pain and it's not going away and it feels horrendous, get it properly checked out. Do not take ulcers and dairy allergies as a given. You know, make them do tests, ladies. Make them do tests, because they don't let us, they just don't believe us. I don't know what it is with the medical community, but women's health is shocking because they just don't believe that we cope with pain. They don't understand it. We push babies out of vaginas. We can handle pain. We have periods every month. We can handle pain. We're not lying. Frickin' treat us like a fucking patient. Because if we were men, you would have us straight in the hospital. Believe me. Anyway, that's my tuppence worth. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Let me know what you think in the comments about I don't know what to call it, maybe like a knitting club type thing, and the lives, Stitch and Bitch lives maybe, and yeah, and if you're a pattern designer, reach out. Yeah, okay, I think that's it. I think that's all I can talk about. I've got to get on with real life now. Okay, well, thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a lovely week. Goodbye.